Gauteng Province. Accused number 2, Medicare 24 Tshwane District Pty Ltd, a company registered and incorporated in terms of the provision of the Companies Act 2008.
Evil is bad, we all know that. But sometimes, even good people find themselves wishing good things for those who constantly do bad to others. And that's exactly the feeling that hit South Africa when Cat Matlala appeared in court today. During his hearing, Cat Matlala pleaded guilty to corruption, charges that could see him locked up for a very long time. The man who once moved like he was untouchable was standing there broken. You could see the emotion all over his face. He tried so hard to hide his tears. He tried to mask the regret. But it was too evident. The pain, the shame, the reality of what's coming. South Africa watched it all unfold live. Pride took him up, and the law is bringing him down. Welcome back to Mzansi News Trend, where we break down the moments that have the country talking. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button, hit like, share this video with your people, then grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and watch this unfold. I'll give you my full analysis right after the clip. You need to see this moment for yourself.
The Director of Public Prosecutions and the Head of the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, established in terms of Section 7(1)(a) of the National Prosecuting Authority Act 1998, as amended by the National Prosecuting Authority Amendment Act 2024, who prosecutes for on behalf of the state in terms of Section 24, subsection 2 of the National Prosecuting Authority Act, hereby informs this Honourable Court that, number 1, Husumusi Matlala, a 49-year-old male South African citizen with identity number 7605 2856 35081, residing at 23 Almena Midstream Estate, extension 65 Centurion, Gauteng Province. Accused number 2, Medicare 24 Tshwane District Pty Ltd, a company registered and incorporated in terms of the provision of the Companies Act 2008, Act 71 of 2008, with registration number 2019/073674/07 and address listed as 4th floor, Mercedes-Benz Place, 210 Aramist Avenue, Menlyn, Main, Pretoria, Gauteng Province, as represented by accused number 1 as the Director. 3. Lapso Africa Brand Investments Pty Ltd, a company registered and incorporated in terms of the provision of the Companies Act 2008, Act 71 of 2008, with registration number 2015/073600/07, with address listed as 60 Royal Palm Drive, Globesdal, Limpopo, as represented by accused number 1 as Director. Hereinafter referred to, the accused are guilty of the following offences. Count 1, fraud, read with the provisions of Section 51, subsection 2 of the Criminal Law Amendment Act 1997, read with Sections 84, 92, 94, 99, 103, 221, 236, and 246 of the Criminal Procedure Act 1997, in respect of accused number 1 and 2, counts 2 to 4, general offence of corruption, in contravention of Section 3B, read with Sections 1, 2, 24, 25, 26, 1A, and Roman numeral 2 and 26, subsection 3 of the Prevention and Combating of the Corrupt Activities Act 2004, Act number 12 of 2004, and further read with Sections 84, 92, 94, 236, 256, 269A, and 332 of the Criminal Procedure Act 1997, in respect of accused number 1, 2, and 3 only, counts 5 to 7. Money laundering in contravention of Section 4, read with Sections 1 and 8 of the Prevention of Organized Crime Act 1988, Act 121 of 1998, and further reads with Section 332 of the Criminal Procedure Act 1997, in respect of accused 1, 2, and 3 only. The charge sheet. Your Worship, the Part A of the charge sheet deals with the legal framework that governs procurement of goods and services by organs of state. It deals with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, the Preferential Procurement Policy Framework Act, the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Act. And then Part B deals with the legal framework that governs the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act. Part C deals with the Prevention of Organized Crime Act. Your Worship, that essentially takes us to page 15 of the charge sheet. Your Worship, I will, with the court's direction, Your Worship, is it necessary to read out these legal frameworks?
Counsel, any inputs?
Your Worship, there's no input from our side. We've had sight of the charge sheet and yes, Your Worship.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it appears that Part A, B and C, though it is indirectly involved in the drafting of the charge sheet, it appears there's no need to read it into record. It is available. So you may proceed then with the exact charges as from page 15 you indicated.
Yes, Your Worship. The next section deals with the summary of substantial facts of the case.
You may proceed from there.
As the court pleases. Part A, the submission of the tender with bid number bid 19/1/9/1/94 TP in brackets 23, count 1, fraud perpetrated by accused number 1 and 2. Paragraph 43. This matter relates to the awarding of the tender with bid reference number bid 19/1/9/1/94 TP in brackets 23. On the 31st of January 2024, the Supply Chain Management Services of the South African Police Services advertised a tender for the appointment of a service provider to render health risk management, temporary incapacity leave, ill health retirement, IOD medical assessment, wellness screening, pre-employment medical assessment, external deployment medical assessment, and medical surveillance for a period of 3 years with a closing date of 19 February 2024. 44. The contract with bid number, Worship, I'm not going to repeat the bid number each instance, was ultimately awarded to accused number 2, that is Medicare 24 Tshwane District, on the 14th of June 2024. The monetary award amounted to 228,665,280 rands. 45. During March 2019, Musumusi Matlala, accused number 1, approached one Michael Johannes van Wyk, who was the Chief Executive Officer of Medicare 24 Holdings Services Pty Ltd, and had discussions with van Wyk regarding his, accused number 1's, intention to purchase a franchise of Medicare Holdings. 46. On 13 February 2019, accused number 1 registered a company named Medicare 24 Tshwane District. Accused 2 was allocated company registration number 2019/073674/07 by the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission. 47. Accused was listed as the sole director and shareholder of accused number 2. The business address of accused number 2 was listed as 103 North Rand Road, Bardeen, Boksburg, Gauteng, 1459. 48. On 14 February 2019, accused 2 was registered and incorporated as a company in terms of Section 14 of the Companies Act 2008. 49. On the 11th of February 2019, accused number 2, represented by its then sole director and shareholder, accused number 1, concluded a franchise agreement with Medicare Holdings, represented by Michael Johannes van Wyk, the franchisor of Medicare 24 Holdings Services. 50. Accused number 2 was registered on the Central Supplier Database as supplier number MAAA0885803. Its preferred address was listed on the CSD as 103 North Rand Road, Bardeen, Boksburg, Gauteng. By furnishing the said address as its preferred address, it was represented that accused number 2 carried on its business at that address. 51. On the 31st of January 2024, the Division Supply Chain Management of the South African Police Services advertised a tender with the reference number as I mentioned earlier. The closing date for the tender was the 19th of February 2024. In terms of the National Treasury Public Finance Management Act, SCM Instruction 09 of 2022, the standard requirement is that tenders by organs of state in the Republic of South Africa must generally be advertised for at least 21 days on the e-tender portal to ensure compliance with Section 2171 of the Constitution. 52. The tender advertised by the division SCM of SAPS, referenced earlier, was advertised for less than 21 days on the e-tender portal, and the accounting officer of the SAPS had not authorized the division SCM to advertise the tender for the shorter period. The said tender was for the provision of health risk management services to SAPS as per paragraph 56. 53. National Treasury Regulations 16A 6.3 subsection C required that tenders be advertised for a minimum period of 21 days. The tender referenced earlier was not deemed at that stage to be urgent or an emergency that required a shorter period of advertisement. Due to the shorter period of the advertisement and the fact that there was no urgency or emergency, the advertisement failed to comply with the provisions of the National Treasury Regulations 16 capital A 6.3C. 54. Accused number 1 is the sole director, through the instrumentality of accused number 2, submitted a bid in response of the advertisement for the tender as referenced earlier. 55. James George Murray and Brian Neville Cartwright, we'll refer to him as Captain Cartwright going forward, assisted accused number 2 and accused number 1 at various stages of the preparations of the bid submitted by accused through the instrumentality of accused number 1. 56. In paragraphs 3.5 of one of the standard bid documents, the SPD forms, SPD 4, accused number 2 through the instrumentality of accused number 1 declared that, quotes, there had been no consultations, communications, agreements, or any arrangements made by the bidder with any official of the procuring institution in relation to this procurement process prior to and during the bidding process, except to provide clarification on the bid submitted where so required by the institution. And the bidder was not involved in the drafting of the specification in terms of the reference of the bid. Unquote. 57. The declaration by accused through the instrumentality of accused number 1 and Mr. Murray were false in that accused number 1 had consultations, communications, agreements and arrangements with Captain Cartwright prior to and during the bidding process in respect of the tender as referenced earlier. 58. Accused number 1, Mr. Murray, Captain Cartwright and accused 2 failed to disclose the material facts that they had consulted about the bid submitted by accused through the instrumentality of accused 1. 59. Section 1 of the BBBEE Act provides that, quotes, fronting practice means a transaction, arrangement, or other act or conduct that directly or indirectly undermines or frustrates the achievement of the objectives of this act or the implementations of the provisions of this act, including but not limited to the practices in connection with the BBBEE initiative. A, in terms of which black persons who are appointed to an enterprise are discouraged or inhibited from substantially participating in the core activities of that enterprise. B, in terms of which the economic benefits received as a result of the broad-based black economic empowerment status of an enterprise do not flow to black people in the ratio specified in the relevant legal documentation. C, involving the conclusion of a legal representation with a black person for purposes of that enterprise achieving a certain level of broad-based black economic empowerment compliance without granting that black person the economic benefits that would reasonably be expected to be associated with the status or position held by that black person. D, involving the conclusion of an agreement with another enterprise in order to achieve or enhance broad-based black economic empowerment status in circumstances in which 1, there are significant limitations which whether implicit or explicit on the identity of suppliers, service providers, clients or customers. 2, the maintenance of business operations is reasonably considered to be improbable having regard to the resources available. And 3, the terms and conditions were not negotiated at arm's length and on fair and reasonable basis, unquote. 60. Parliament of the Republic of South Africa has also enacted the Public Finance Management Act 1 of 1999 to regulate financial management in the national government, to ensure that all revenue, expenditure, assets and liabilities of governments in the local and provincial spheres and at national level are managed efficiently and effectively, to provide for responsibilities of persons entrusted with financial management in those governments, and to provide for matters connected thereto. 61. Section 1 of the PFMA provides that this Act includes any regulations and instructions in terms of Section 69, 76, 85, or 91. 62. Section 76(4) of the PFMA provides that National Treasury must make regulations or issue instructions applicable to departments concerning A. Any matter that must be prescribed for departments in terms of this Act. B. The recovery of losses and damages. C. The handling of and control of trust money and property. D. The rendering of free services. E. The writing of losses of state money or other assets or amounts owed to the state. If the liability for losses and damages and procedures for recovery. G. The cancellation of variation of contracts to the detriment of the state. H. The settlement of claims against the state. J. Waiver of claims by the state. I. J. The remission of money due to revenue fund, refunds of revenue and payments from the revenue fund as an act of grace. K. The alienation, letting or other disposal of state assets. And L. Gifts or donations by or to the state. 63. In terms of Section 76(4) subsection C of the PFMA, National Treasury issued the general conditions of contracts applicable to all contracts concluded between tenderers and organs of state. 64. The general conditions of contract issued by National Treasury outline the standard terms and conditions of all contracts concluded by organs of state. 65. The purpose of the general conditions of contract issued by National Treasury are to A. Draw special attention to general conditions applicable to government bids, contracts and orders, and B. To ensure that the clients be familiar with regards to the rights and obligations of all parties involved in doing business with government. 66. Clause 32(3) of the General Conditions of Contract provides that no contract shall be concluded with any bidder whose tax matters are not in order. Prior to the award of the bid, the department or organ of state awarding the bid must be in possession of a tax clearance certificate submitted by the bidder. The certificate must be originally issued by the South African Revenue Services. The tax matters of an entity The tax matters of an entity that does business with government are not limited to tax clearance certificates, but also includes registration and payment of value-added tax in terms of the provision of the Value-Added Tax Act 1991. 67. Tender documents are required to always provide details of the project or procurement in respect of which bids have been invited, including the scope of work, the project timeline, the cost of the project, or the amount budgeted for the procurement of the goods and services in question. 68. Organs of state are entitled to invite tenders from potential suppliers subject to the special requirements and conditions of contract. Special requirements and conditions of contract are special conditions of a specific contract setting out specific deviations from general conditions of contracts and other relevant provisions and data which are to be read in conjunction with the general conditions of contract. 69. Special terms and conditions of contracts are supplementary to the general condition of contracts, and in instances where there is a conflict between the two, the special conditions of contract shall prevail. 70. There were special conditions that were applicable to this tender. Some of these special conditions were 70.1. A compulsory briefing session was to be held on the 8th of February 2024 at 10 o'clock at the venue specified by the Supply Chain Management Division of SAPS. Only bidders who would have attended the compulsory briefing session would be considered for acceptance during the evaluation period. 70.2. Any bidder who was not the actual service provider and would be sourcing services or goods from third parties were required to submit an unconditional letter of firm supply arrangements from the company from whom such a bidder would be sourcing the services or goods, confirming supply arrangements in that regard. The letter from the third party was required to accompany bid documents at the closing date and time of the bid. 70.3. The SAPS reserve the right to conduct supply due diligence prior to the award of any at any time during the evaluation process. During the due diligence process, information submitted by the bidders would be verified, and any misrepresentation thereof would disqualify the bid submitted by the bidder. 70.4. The SAPs also reserve the right to conduct a supplier due diligence during the contract period. The information supplied by the contractor would be verified, and any misrepresentation thereof would entitle the SAPs to institute remedial actions available to the SAPs, and such due diligence would include pre-announced and unannounced visits. 70.1. On the 13th of February 2024, accused number 1 completed and signed bid documents on behalf of accused number 2 in his capacity as the sole director and shareholder of accused number 2. The said bid documents were then submitted to the supply chain management. Amongst the several misrepresentations that were made relating to the capacity of accused 2 to perform in terms of the advertised tender were the following. 70.1. Misrepresented in the SBD1 form that its business address was 103 Northrand Road, Bardeen, Boksburg, Gauteng. 70.2.
That was a very emotional video, but there's a saying, no smoke without fire. And as much as we might feel bad for Cat Matlala and his family, let's not forget one thing. He brought all this to himself. Matlala has done a lot of bad in this country. A lot. And when you play with fire, eventually you get burned. Now it's time to pay for it. Let me take you back a little. Remember when Malema questioned Matlala at the ad hoc committee? That moment tells you everything. From that video, you will see that Matlala has not only done bad things, he also has solid relationships with people known for committing crimes in this country. Deep ties, dangerous connections. The signs were always there. We just chose to ignore them. If you've made it this far, it means one thing. You're locked in and enjoying this breakdown. Please subscribe to the channel and join our growing community. Hit like, share this with everyone. We keep it real here at AD-HOC. Now everyone, let me take you back to that ad hoc committee bombshell. You need to see how Malema cornered him.
That guy who was arrested and sentenced for killing Bozwani. What's your relationship with him? I'm forgetting his name. Keke.
Yes, I don't have a relationship with him.
You have never worked together.
Work?
Yeah?
No.
But he's also from Mamelodi.
Yes.
Mokgotsi believes that you are John Wick, and everybody else there believes you are a John Wick in Mamelodi, that you have been killing people in Mamelodi.
Yes, I heard that.
But what, are you John Wick?
No, I'm not.
Do you kill people?
No.
Have you ever been accused of murder before?
No, never.
So what effort have you taken, the same effort you have taken in saving the image of the company?
Yes.
To save your image from being called a John Wick and being called a dangerous murderer in Mamelodi? What effort have you taken?
That thing I heard it from Matlanga Commission, but I was in CMEX. There we don't have access to anything. So there's nothing I can do at this moment. My main focus now is to fight to get myself out of this place.
No, but you were called John Wick before you came here.
No. I don't know about that.
You are not called John Wick before you came here. Now, in your detail of 14 security or personal protectors, how many are former task force members?
It's not task force, it's from the defense, it's special forces.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm asking about the task force, the police task force.
The task force is one.
It's one. And then the special forces?
I'll say maybe 8.
8.
Yeah.
Out of 14. So it's special forces, 8 plus 1 task force.
9.
That is paramilitary. It's not VIP protection to have such dangerous, the highest form of defense of the country in one unit. How much does that cost per month?
I was paying them 100,000 a month each.
Yeah. So what is your personal security detail budget per month? Because remember, it's food, it's petrol, it's convoy, it's hotels, it's all of that.
My budget is 2 million.
No, you said the security company makes 2 million. You can't budget 2 million. So the whole 2 million, when it gets in, it goes to those people.
Yes, but I don't have one company.
Oh, so you source from different companies to maintain that lifestyle. I've got a message, you know, Jerry's mom called me and asked me that I must ask you to return her son because she believes very strongly that you kidnapped her son.
Yes.
And she cries in tears because she says she knows you. And she has given you a plate of food to her, you are a child. If we were to talk to her now as she's listening, what will you say to her?
I will say that they are misleading her. And I think the people who are misleading her are the people who put me here in prison. Because I think they even went and told this same thing to, before the mother, to Jerry's wife. So I will say she's being misled because they know very well I'm the first person who woke up at night there, and then I was the first person who was looking for Jerry everywhere. So when they say I kidnapped her, it's because maybe of my suggestion that rather let's tell the police the truth, and then they were not comfortable with that. And I said to them, it's either we do that or we never find him, because if you don't give them a clue, then how are we going to know, how the police are they going to know where he is? So they were emphasizing that we need to save their image, his image. So me and them, we ended up not agreeing on one thing, because even myself, I was tired of looking for someone, but we must lie to the police on the other side.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm given some limited time and I'm allocating it to you. Speak to her. Talk to Jerry's mom. She's listening to you now. She's watching you. Talk to her. Her son has been missing for so long.
Yes.
And she feels very strongly that you took her son.
Yes.
The same way they felt very strong that you took AB's wife and AB's son.
Yes.
So before you speak to AB, speak to Jerry's mom.
AB knows that. I think wherever he knows that thing he knows very well that I've never.
No,
done
leave AB. I'm saying,
yes.
AB, Jerry's mom is watching. Talk to her.
I will say, Mama, you know very well me and your son, we are very, very, very close friends. We've done a lot of things together, traveled together, me and his wife and my wife, and there was nothing that I will do to harm your son. Actually, your son was like a young brother to me. So there are people who are getting between us, trying to convince you that I took your son so that you might think of me as this boogeyman that people paint me to be. But from the bottom of my heart, I've never and I will never ever do anything to harm your son or your family.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Now, did you have a business deal with Jerry in some comfort installing solar system?
Yeah, but it was his business, but I'm the one who got it for him.
So you worked together, and whatever the monies that you were supposed to transact at that level,
Yeah.
you sorted each other out.
Yes.
Now, just before Jerry disappeared, and then I think Jerry disappeared a week or two, and AB's wife disappeared 2 weeks after or so, but it was within a short space of time.
Yeah, I think a week in between or so, yeah.
They say Jerry and AB were in your office. You wanted them to do some tender in Limpopo of CID. You called AB because he had a CIDB 9.
Yes, that's
and they both declined to do that business with you. And that's where their problem started.
He actually accepted AB, and it was not in Limpopo, it was there in Silverton, where there's a fourth plant. And then he accepted. The thing is, he was supposed to go to a briefing. I think he missed the briefing or something. That's why the thing didn't happen, but he never declined.
So now, do you know anything about AB's son and AB's wife?
No.
But were you not involved in helping them to find the wife and the son?
Yes, I was.
And then what were, as from a security company perspective, what were your suspicions or your findings, as it were?
Actually, there is this Pakistani guy whose employee was kidnapped. The Pakistani guy, he's a Muslim. We go to the same mosque. So he told me that his employee is being kidnapped. So I asked around and I found out there's some guys in Attridgeville who kidnapped that employee. And I took my chances. I just said, call the guy, and I said, I know it's you, but I was just testing the waters. Return that guy because we do not want to come looking for you. Luckily, he dropped him off by Church Street at Sasol Garage. Then we found the guy. So now, with AB's family, because the guy who kidnapped the Pakistani guy were from Attridgeville. So I said to AB, because you are not far from Attridgeville, I suspect it might be these guys. And I called the guys as well. I said to them, you see now, we're starting, can you please return AB's family? And then he hung up and then he switched off the phone and then he just disappeared. And I just heard that after a while they said, okay, I'm disguising to appear as if I'm helping AB, but I know that I'm the one who's doing this. But I think it was those guys trying to divert their attention.
You remember when I started, I spoke about your son and your wife and how they should not be treated the way they are treated by police.
Yes.
AB's son and AB's wife did not deserve what happened to them.
I agree, yes.
Especially the son of AB, who will forever be traumatized by those experiences.
Yes.
And Jerry's wife and children do not deserve to see their father not returning from home, because every sunset they look forward to the return of their father and the father does not come back. Like you growing up without a father, these children want their father, they want to see their father returning. And no one must do that to children and our wives.
You agree?
With your security experience, do you think Jerry is still alive? I mean, those kidnapping people, if they kidnap you to extort money, for you to give them money, a ransom and all of that, but once they keep you for too long, you become an expense to them, because they have to feed you, they have to, if you are sick, medication, accommodation and all of that. Why would they keep you this long when they know that there's actually nothing coming forward? Do you think Jerry is still alive? Not do you know. With your own security experience and your instinct as a friend who says to the mother of Jerry, this was like my younger brother. Something in you should tell you that this guy is no longer there or is still there.
Honestly, I agree with you. At some point, he will end up being a liability to his abductors. So I don't think also myself by now that if he's alive, then what are they gaining for keeping him so long and then spending money on him, but they're not getting anything in return? So it's a very hard one to accept, but obviously when you add one and one together, for me, it does not give me, I wouldn't say that these people will benefit anything from keeping him so long. I don't think so.
Now, have you been to the farm of the father of Jerry's wife to ask that they pay a ransom of 10 million or anything to that?
To the farm?
To the farm or to the father? No, to the father. Let's leave the farm. Have you been to the father, like the father-in-law of A?
Jerry's father-in-law. Yeah.
I mean, Jerry's father-in-law.
Yeah.
Have you been there and asked that they pay some ransom to these people?
No, I've been there, but not to say to pay ransom.
Yeah, but what were the discussion between you and the father-in-law? Because the story now is Jerry has kidnapped himself because he wants to extort 10 million from the father-in-law, and to a particular extent you went to say to the father-in-law, please pay something, because it looks like the father-in-law is well off.
He's not well off, but that's what they're saying. So actually, I volunteered to pay 5 million myself, and I said, if you guys can raise 5 million, I'll pay 5 million myself so that we can get him. So I went there to speak to his father-in-law and say, listen, let's go 50-50. I can pay 5 and you pay 5. And he said, if they kidnap me, you must tell them that they must kill me. I will never pay any money.
Speak to the Jerry's kidnappers, your younger brother, and plead with them. For sure they are listening. They knew we were coming to speak to you. If you are to speak to their conscience, what were you going to say?
I will say, what we need now is closure. So whether they have them, they must just release him because he's diabetic. So I don't think wherever he is, he's in a good health. And also, if they did something to him still, let them give us a sign somewhere to at least have closure, to know, because it's not nice every day sleeping, not knowing what happened to your brother, your father, your son. So what can at least comfort us now is closure, whatever it is, so at least we can know going forward what to do.
Thanks.